So you're thinking about retiring in Thailand, but not necessarily full time. Maybe you want to escape the winters back home, spend a few months enjoying the Thai lifestyle, then head back for family visits or to maintain ties in your home country. You're not alone in this thinking if that's what you want. I get emails all the time from people asking about this exact scenario. They want to know if it's possible to retire in Thailand part-time, and if so, what that actually looks like. So today, I'm going to break all this down for you. I'll walk you through 3 different profiles that I see again and again here in Thailand. And for each one, I'll show you what some practical considerations are that you need to think about and how to structure things. By the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer picture and a much clearer roadmap for your own part-time retirement in Thailand, whether you're planning to be here for 2 months a year or 8 months a year or anywhere in between. I'll chapter out each section below so it's easy for you to navigate through everything. With that said, let's get into it. So let's start with what I call the short-term snowbird. This is somebody who comes to Thailand for just 1 or 2 months a year and is really, just looking to escape winter most of the time for, say, 30 to 60 days. They're not looking to build a second home base or establish any sort of ties in Thailand. They just want ease, comfort, and minimal headaches as part of snowbirding in Thailand instead of Florida or Southern Europe. I think this group is probably exactly like how my parents will end up once they enter their retirement. Come visit once every year or two for a month and a half at a time, enjoy the sun, maybe do some regional travel, pop over to Vietnam, down to Singapore, check things off your bucket list for this part of the world and then head back home for the spring. What's great about being in this category is that the visa side of things is dead simple. You can use the visa exempt entry status, which right now provides 60 days on arrival for those from most countries. And if you need a bit more time, you can even extend that for another 30 days at immigration inside of Thailand, giving you 90 days total. That's it. No need for long-term visas, no complicated paperwork, no deposits in Thai bank accounts, none of that. Just show up and enjoy your time in Thailand. Now, as far as housing goes for this group, probably you're going to want to look at serviced apartments or Airbnbs. Those are probably your best bet. I think for this type of snowbird, it's probably easier to just book through a platform or any of the websites, since a lot of them already have monthly discounts baked in and built into them. And at this kind of time frame, again, 1 or 2 months a year, the best deal you can maybe get is to book the first month through one of the platforms or websites, and then, yes, try and go direct to the owner after that. But again, you're not going to get any major discounts for this sort of time frame. And this is something that my grandparents, just went through earlier on in this year. They got they got a service apartment in Bangkok before heading down to Samui. And they tried going direct, and there's really not too many discounts to be had for this sort of time frame. Now, as far as the serviced apartment thing goes, basically these are buildings that generally cater more for short-term stays. They usually employ a hotel-style booking system with no fixed long-term contracts, meaning that guests can stay for a few days at a time, a few weeks at a time, or a few months at a time. But they're way more like homey, I guess you could say, than hotels are. They're perfect for this category. Here's a really good example of a mid-level serviced apartment in Bangkok that offers month-to-month rentals. I actually stayed here for a month way back when I was still in my decision-making phase as to where in Thailand I wanted to sign a long-term lease. That was coming up on 5 years ago now, 4.5 years ago. And staying at that place worked out really, really well. It's a good example of what I mean when I say serviced apartment. Now, there's no single portal where you can go and categorically look at all serviced apartments and service buildings in all of Thailand, but to explore some options and what might be available, you can try some of the following methods. So first off, you can go to Agoda or booking.com, enter your desired location, and then set the respective filters so you're shown serviced apartments, apartments, or entire homes and apartments. There's tons of legit options listed in there, and it's a pretty good way to find some good places to stay. Also, in a fair number of cases, in my experience anyways, these serviced apartments that cater toward short-term stayers will often include the following terms as part of their building or business name: mansion, residences, tower, villa, house, suites. Now, this isn't extensive, nor is it black and white. Like, it's not like every building in Thailand that has one of those terms in it is a short-term serviced apartment. I just found that it's a bit of a trend that I've noticed after, 4.5, 5 years of living here on the ground and spending a bunch of time in these serviced apartments in my early days. Now, the second course of action you could take is to check out a website called Rent Hub and choose to browse by short-term daily or short-term monthly stays. Here's a decent looking listing in Bangkok's Thong Lo district I found using this method. Now, the last and most basic course of action I'll mention today, as far as finding these serviced apartments go, is pretty self-explanatory, and it's just to Google, serviced apartment Chiang Mai or short-term apartment rental Bangkok. Obviously, you'd want to specify your desired location, but you'll find that a lot of options come up, and after a half hour or so of browsing, you'll likely be able to get yourself on the right track. Here's an option I came across in Bangkok's Plon Chit district after literally 2-3 minutes of doing some Googling. Now, one important note worth mentioning as far as finding these short-term rentals go is the fact that unless you have a pretty big budget, agents probably aren't going to assist in finding you housing and finding your short-term rental property, because the commissions don't really make sense for them for such short stays. Now, shifting into the insurance side of things for this group though. So for the short-term snowbirds, you're likely gonna need to buy travel insurance, but one thing worth checking and definitely considering is the fact that a lot of insurance policies that Westerners have in their home countries, like private insurance policies that many people have in Canada, US, Europe, a lot of these policies come with an allotment or a benefit or an inclusion for international coverage up to a certain amount of time per year. Sometimes it's like 15 days a year, sometimes 30. I've even heard of cases where it's 60 days a year. Like, for example, I have a buddy from the US, an American buddy of mine, who has an allotment or inclusion on his private US health insurance plan that provides him the benefit of 60 days per year, full coverage outside the United States. So for him, if he was a short-term snowbird coming to Thailand for a month and a half each winter, 2 months each winter, he doesn't even need to purchase subsidiary travel insurance because his pre-existing insurance is already built in and he can save that money, right? So that's definitely one thing worth looking into as far as what you may already have goes, because you might be able to save yourself the money if existing insurance covers your bases. If it doesn't though, I definitely want to purchase travel insurance, because if things go wrong, it can get expensive over here just as far as medical costs go. People say Thailand's affordable medical, and it is, but not if something goes wrong, like seriously wrong. Very easily could tally up a $30,000 hospital bill depending on what happened. Now, shifting focus here into the banking side of things for this group, and this is very short and very straightforward. You don't need to have a Thai bank account if you're a snowbird. If I was you, I wouldn't think about it, I wouldn't want for it or desire for it. I think there's no real point. You can't get one anyway, since you wouldn't be on a long-term visa, a long-term non-immigrant visa to be specific. So if I'm you, I'd just use something like Wise or something like a Charles Schwab debit card that has zero or low fee international spending ability and cash withdrawal ability. As far as SIM cards go, just keep it simple. Buy a prepaid tourist SIM at the airport. Done. No need to overcomplicate it to save $8. Yeah, overall though, things are pretty easy for this Snowbird group. I mean, come to Thailand, enjoy, and then go back to wherever you're from. Kind of like a long-term tourist. Thailand's really well built for people just like you that, maybe you want to snowbird over here instead of going to Florida or Portugal or Mexico or wherever for the winter, right? I think Thailand's a great option, and there's very, very little administration you'd have to think about if this is you. Next up, let's talk about what I call the seasonal retiree. So this is somebody who spends, let's say, 3 to 6 months a year in Thailand, usually the full winter months from November through April. They generally come back every single year, so they need a bit more stability than our short-term snowbirds do, but they're still not full-time expats. And this is where visa strategy potentially starts to become somewhat important. So, I mean, if you're on the lower end of this category and you're staying 90 days or less, so around 3 months, you can still do exactly what the snowbirds do, and that's just come in on the visa exemption. Again, you'll get 60 days plus the option to do an in-country 30-day extension. It's simple, very, very low cost, and there's almost no administration required as part of that. But if you're planning on staying longer than 90 days, things do change a little bit here, and that's because as part of the visa exemption program, like on that 90th day, if that's how you decided to do it, well, you need to leave the country and then try to come back in to reset that clock. But the thing is, these days in 2025, border hopping and visa runs is what it's called. It is somewhat problematic in Thailand, and I really wouldn't recommend trying to build like a sustainable long-term strategy year after year based around the idea that, oh, I'm just going to max my 90 days out, head to Vietnam for the weekend and come back into Thailand, because feels like at some point it's very, very, very likely that you'll get stopped at the border coming back in, whether that be land entry or at an airport, and asked to convert to a long-term visa. So it changes the game a little bit on that 90th day. And so that's why it's important to highlight that. That said, the good thing is you do have some actual visa options that are very easy if you plan on staying more than 90 days, but less than 6 months or less than 180 days. There's the 6-month tourist visa, which is issued from a Thai embassy or the Thai consulate in your home country or your country of residence. It's very easy to get, and as the name states, I mean, you get 6 months worth of the ability to stay in Thailand, and it's so simple. So that's a good option if you plan it ahead. Another good option for you is the Destination Thailand visa, especially if you're somebody that's focused on wellness or medical treatments over here. This will likely require you having to show proof of ongoing medical appointments each time, or I guess each season you come back into Thailand each year. That's because the DTV, the Destination Thailand visa, it is a 5-year visa validity period, but it's also extremely likely that immigration officers are going to ask you for proof of appointment in the medical space when you return each year. They're not just going to give the 5-year visa and you sign up for a health checkup and that works, for the full 5-year period. You should expect to show ongoing appointments each year you come back into Thailand. And that actually works great for those who want to take advantage of Thailand's healthcare scene, booking appointments for dental implants or orthopedic treatments or specialized health checkups, things like that, right? So yeah, at this stage, as far as visa stuff goes, still very simple. Again, you could go full visa exemption if you plan on staying 90 days or less, or you could do 6-month tourist visa, very easy to get, or the destination Thailand visa, which is also relatively easy to get. Now, housing-wise, 3 to 6 month rentals start to make a bit more sense here. So again, you have serviced apartments, which we've spoken about what those are and how to get them. You've got villa rentals, you've got house rentals, you've got platforms like Airbnb with even longer term, larger discounts. But at this stage, for this profile, the person spending 3 to 6 months in Thailand, going direct to owners now starts to make far more sense, because that time period starts to really incentivize owners to give you a better deal if you're going to pay them cash directly versus going through one of the platforms, right? Some people in this bucket even start to leave belongings behind each year in Thailand in a small storage locker. Things like motorbike helmets if they're big riders over here, small exercise gear for their house, or maybe like a Thai IPTV or computer monitors, just small things of this nature, right? Small things that usually you buy, but it's a kind of a pain in the ass to bring back and forth to places, but it just makes your living experience so much more comfortable in a given spot. So I've noticed that a lot of people in this bucket also rent small little storage lockers to just keep things here in Thailand. That's their Thailand home base. Now, as far as insurance goes, you probably won't be able to get by on your home country coverage, because even if it does have some sort of international, travel allotment included as part of it, my best guess is that in the lucky case where you do have that, I can only imagine that would max out 99% of the time, like 30 days a year, or 60 days a year. It would be crazy. That'd be a very high-end insurance plan. So because of that, additional supplementary travel insurance is almost certainly required for this particular group. As far as banking goes here, again, just like group number 1, the Snowbirds, still very straightforward. You're spending less than 6 months a year in Thailand, so there's no real need for a Thai bank account yet. Plus, you can't get one anyways, because without a true long-term non-immigrant visa, you can't open a Thai bank account right now. So just keep on using foreign cards, try to find solutions, again, whether it be Wise or something like Charles Schwab. And then as far as SIM cards go, same sort of deal. You probably just want to buy some simple, basic, prepaid Thai SIM card from AIS or True Mobile. Now, our third profile is what I like to call the true part-time resident. So this is somebody who spends 6 to 9 months or more per year here in Thailand, but still returns home seasonally for family, healthcare, or tax reasons. This is where you definitely need some proper infrastructure in place, and a real long-term visa is going to be required most likely, because tourist visas or that visa exemption just won't work anymore at this level of time commitment inside of Thailand. As far as visas go, your main options are the non-immigrant O retirement visa, the non-immigrant OA retirement visa, any of the long-term resident visas, and in certain cases, the destination Thailand visa, but I would be careful about relying on that for real long-term retirement purposes for a few reasons. You also have the Thailand Privilege Card, which was formerly called the Thailand Elite Visa, for those that just want to keep everything simple and pay for multi-year access to Thailand up front. Now, as far as housing goes, it also starts to change a little bit at this level of commitment as well. And that's because an annual lease might start to make more financial sense. It does depend on a lot of factors, but it's definitely worth investigating if you find yourself in this bucket. On top of that, if you're spending 8 months a year in Thailand, you'll also probably want to set up a proper home base with legitimate comforts, your own internet plan that you control, your own phone plans, maybe your own bed, things like this. So it gets interesting in the housing department, because not only, does it start to make potential financial sense to just commit to a 1-year lease versus only committing to shorter term leases and paying for that flexibility as part of that. But it might be nice to have a real home base in Thailand, even if you're not here year round, if you find yourself in this bucket. Now, as far as insurance goes, travel insurance probably isn't the best option anymore once you're spending this much time in Thailand. Instead, you'd be better off purchasing an actual long-term private health insurance plan, not travel insurance, but true international health insurance. And some of the Thai visas I mentioned previously even require this. Banking also becomes a bit more important now as well. Given that you have a proper long-term visa, it's probably time to get yourself a Thai bank account in this bucket. And having local banking access makes life much easier for things just paying bills and rent and daily expenses. Now the question becomes, how do you figure out which profile fits you best? How much time are you going to spend in Thailand each year? Well, if I'm in your shoes, I'd be asking a few key questions. So first off, I'd ask myself how many months a year I actually wanted to be here, and I'd be super honest with myself. You know, there's a big difference between thinking you want to be here 8 months a year versus actually being away from family and friends for 8 months a year and being away from home that long, right? Second thing I'd ask is, what's the budget situation look like? Not just for living expenses, but for visa costs or lack thereof, insurance costs or lack thereof, and also maintaining whatever ties you need to or don't need to back in your home country, right? On top of that, some visa options here in Thailand, if you decide to spend a certain amount of time here, actually require that you keep somewhat significant money in a Thai bank account. And others require upfront payments. So it's important to factor a lot of this in as far as budgeting goes. Now, the third question I'd be asking is, how much complexity am I willing to deal with? You know, some people want the absolute simplest solution. Others are happy to do some paperwork and, you know, navigate a little bit of bureaucracy. And there's no right answer. It's just what works for you. But the reality is, as amazing as this country is, I mean, Thailand's awesome. I love it. But it's not exactly known as, you know, a bastion of clarity in the world, right? Like, things change here a lot. It can be very confusing. Oftentimes, from a foreign perspective, it feels like things might not make sense. And it feels almost like very frustrating, right? So how much of that do you want to put up with? Like, I talk to my parents all the time, and they love coming to Thailand for, you know, holiday. And like I said at the start of this video, they will most definitely spend like a month or two a year here once they enter retirement. But there's no way they would be willing to deal with and put up with, you know, some of the just the Thailand stuff, navigating visas and properties and insurance. Like, they just don't want to do it. They like to come here, but they don't like it that much. And that's okay, right? There are companies out there that help you navigate all this. Like, my partner Watt and I run a relocation business. This is what we do day in and day out. So you can get help. But it's very confusing, and so it's all about how much do you want to put up with or not put up with. But it's a real question to ask yourself. The fourth question I'd be asking is, what's your health situation? Like we've discussed, some visas do require private annual health insurance, and like everybody knows, insurance gets far more expensive with age and much harder to obtain. So I mean, if you're 78 years old with pre-existing conditions, that might push you towards certain visa options or push you out of certain visa options. It might push you towards spending, you know, only 3-4 months a year here to maintain access to the health system in your home country. And the last question I'd be asking is, how important is flexibility to you? Do you want to be able to come and go as you please? Or are you happy to commit to a real specific time frame as part of your time in Thailand goes? Because this heavily influences, you know, which profile of the three we've spoken about today might be the best for you. Now, I will say a lot of people progress through these profiles I've discussed today. They start off as snowbirds for one winter, then the next year, all of a sudden they spend 5 months here, and then next thing you know, they're living here 9 months a year, and then some even go full-time, a lot go full-time. And that's because Thailand is a magical place, and there's something about it that just kind of captures you, and it's very special. And so it's totally normal and actually pretty smart to just start off as a snowbird. Like, no need to go all in right away. Start off as a snowbird. Don't overcommit to anything. See how you like it. And then over the years, you know, just start spending more and more time here if you want. Because I've also seen it go the other direction. People move over here thinking they'll be in Thailand full time and realize later that it's nothing to do with Thailand, but, you know, they just miss family or they miss certain things about their home country. And then they scale it back, right, to just being seasonal snowbirds. So again, totally fine. You know, the beauty about all of these scenarios and profiles I've outlined today is that you do have full flexibility with your decision making. So with all that said, I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you did find it informative, then I'd highly recommend you sign up for my weekly newsletter. Every Sunday, I get out a detailed, very detailed, practical newsletter entry about some facet of life here. We focus more on the technical side of things. It's less about, you know, where can you get the best pad thai. It's more like the technical stuff, like what this video has been about. And I put just as much effort into that as I do these videos. So check that out if that's of interest to you. And if you want help navigating the visa process for your specific situation, definitely check out our website, thailandblueprint.com. We've built a platform over there that takes a lot of the guesswork out of getting the correct Thai visa. And it comes all built in with step-by-step guidance in our client portal and then actual on-the-ground servicing. And my partner Watt and I that built this, we're quite proud of it. We've helped lots of people at this point. A lot of good 5-star reviews, and it's been a fun journey. So if you do need assistance with the visa side of things and just the relocation side in general, then check out our website, thailandblueprint.com. So with all that said, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.